presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Southeast.
Henry Aaron's marvelous Major League career began here in Milwaukee, and who knows, maybe the spirit of Hammer and Hank is rubbing off on the Braves offense. Nick Markakis, Ender Inciarte, and the rest of the Braves bats are booming. Hopefully that will continue tonight in Game 2 against the homestanding Brewers. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe, welcome back to Miller Park. They've had off to a good start on the road trip, winning 3 of their last 4 ball games. And right now, partner, maybe the best stretch of baseball for Atlanta since, as you said, last All-Star break.
Yeah, if you really go back to the second half of last year, nothing much good happened. But it's happening right now, and the Braves are playing some excellent baseball. Yeah, you can call it a summer surge because all facets are really clicking. The Braves are putting the ball in play. They're finding some holes. They're going first to third, running the bases well, and they're hitting with runners in scoring position. But it's not just singles and doubles. It's some long balls. 38 home runs in their last 40 games compared with 34 hit in their first 72 games. This road trip has been fun to watch because the guys are going yard left and right. So while the offense is doing a good job, they're not alone. Pitching's been good too.
Tyrell Jenkins gets the ball for Atlanta. The starting rotation has been good. It's young, it's inexperienced. But Joe, as you said, early offense has helped these youngsters settle in, and when they've been given a lead to the bullpen's been lights out too.
The bullpen's been really fun to watch these last several games. Check out that ERA since July 26th. I think Cabrera has done a wonderful job of kind of helping solidify the end of the bullpen where Jim Johnson has been perfect since his addition to the closer's role. Everything is clicking. Fun to watch. We've been waiting a long time to see it, and it's very enjoyable.
It's been a fun 2 weeks. Hopefully it'll continue over the final 50 games of the regular season. And tonight, Tyrell Jenkins takes his turn. His 6th start. He'll talk pitching with our own Paul Bird as we continue from Miller Park in Milwaukee for Game 2 next.
Day Night Atlanta Braves Baseball is presented by Mazda.
Welcome back. Here we are in Milwaukee. And how about 6'4", 24-year-old Terrell Jenkins and 6'5" in cleats with a big downward arm action, the sinker, the great competitor. I asked him, I said, hey, you never pitched in Milwaukee. What are you going to do? You look at that scouting report. He says, no, Paul, I'm going to pitch my game. I'm going to take my game to them. They're the ones that got to adjust. And then he said something about a slide. Here's his thoughts minutes ago.
Obviously, like I was stressing the last couple outings, cutting those walks down, and those 16 pitches or however many it might be between those walks and get me deeper in the game. So that's my biggest thing I've been working on now is commanding the fastball and just cutting down those walks. First thing I wanted to see here was that slide, and it was a little bit higher than I thought it was. So hopefully I don't see nobody sliding down later on. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. Beautiful park. With the roof. It's my second time seeing a retractable roof at a baseball stadium. So if I just pitch my game and get a lot of ground balls and my defense work, then hopefully we can come out with a W.
It's tough being a pitcher. You give up a home run, the Fox crew sticks the camera in your face to get the pain you've experienced. There's no place to hide. You don't have any mask on your helmet. Everybody's looking at you, Terrell Jenkins, not wanting to see Bernie go down that slide if he gives up a home run. But we're confident in you, Terrell. We think you got what it takes. Game 2 coming up next to the 4-game series here in Milwaukee.
Presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
It's been very smooth sailing for the Braves for the last couple of weeks, and this pleasant voyage continues in Milwaukee, where Atlanta has won 3 of its first 4 games on the road trip. They won last night in extra innings, and tonight try to beat up on Willie Peralta, who has had a very disappointing season so far for the Brewers.
Yeah, opening day starter for him. They were projecting him as their ace, and it hasn't turned out that way. Check out that ERA. He actually won his last start, but that was back on June 11th, and then he was sent back to AAA. Things weren't a whole lot better there. 10 starts at AAA, a 6.31 ERA. However, this big guy has pitched great against the Braves, including a win against them on May 26th at Turner Field. 2-1 lifetime with a 1.65 ERA. He's 6'1", 260.
And he's facing an Atlanta lineup that is red hot from top to bottom. You know about the hitting streaks of Inciarte and Eric Ibar. Matt Kemp's got a 3-gamer. Adonis Garcia's hitting 22 of 27. Jace Peterson's been on base in 14 of 15 games. Even Anthony Recker has a 4-game streak. He's got 7 hits in his last 15 tries. And the Braves have won their last 3 games in a row. And you know Terrell Jenkins would love some early offense. He looks on as he prepares to make his 6th Major League start tonight. Thrilling game last night. Rob Whalen pitched terrific ball. No decision because of the Martin Maldonado home run. Atlanta got a sacrifice fly, a dropped fly ball, and game-winning run in extra innings last night to win by 1. Ender Inciarte's ready to go. Peralta's first of the night is off the plate, and we're underway. Another beautiful night in Milwaukee. Roof is open. Few puffy clouds overhead. Gentle breeze blowing in again as Peralta missed away. Ball 2.
And he does throw hard, as you can see. Upwards of 95, 96 with a hard slider. Makes you wonder how he ever gives up a hit, but a .358 average against him.
And a 4-pitch walk to Ender Inciarte gets the night started for the Braves. So more of the same from Peralta, who just issued his 28th walk in 66 innings.
And that's hard to do. Ender's been real aggressive his first at bat, and he wants to get after that first pitch strike. He never saw one.
Eric Ibar riding a 13-game hitting streak. 4 multi-hit games during this run. Ibar 1 for 5 last night. He's bumped his average up to 234. Doing some research for this game. Willie Peralta's whip was around 1.8.
Goodness.
1.8 base runners per innings pitched. That's how you add up to a .668 ERA. He's been in trouble almost all of the time. Line foul left side, quickly 0-2. But it really has been a head scratcher for the Brewers. As you said, this man started for them opening day, and they were hoping for a rebound year for him. Last year he lost 10 games, spent some time on the DL with an oblique, and has not been the same since. Ender with a short lead at first. The 0-2 is cut on and missed. Swing and a miss by Ibar. Earns Peralta his first strikeout of the game.
17-11 with a 3.5 ERA just 2 years ago. Struggles last year, more struggles this year. He's taking the place in the rotation of Junior Guerra, who has been outstanding for Milwaukee. 7-3 with a 293. But he's got some elbow tenderness.
So you can understand why the Brewers would give Peralta a shot tonight, because of the success he's had against the Braves, as you mentioned. Let's see how it works out with Freddie Freeman up there. Freddie's 3 for 10 against this man with a homer. And he had a good cut there and whistles that into the seats. Steve, right one. Runner goes. Good jump. Piña's throw to second is on the money and in time. That's the first runner the Brewers catcher has thrown out trying to steal this year. Inciarte's gunned down. 2 are out here in the first.
He didn't even rush it. He just stood up, almost like he took a look at the runner, and he's got it there in time. Tag was a little high, but still got him.
So an even count for Peralta. Back to the windup now, and Freddie didn't get it. 1-2. a swing and a miss. Peralta with a couple of strikeouts after the leadoff walk. Manny Piña's caught stealing throw to second helps the cause as well. Tyrell Jenkins goes to work in Milwaukee. Tyrell Jenkins will take the ball here for the Braves. He makes his 6th big league start tonight.
Good numbers as a starter, a 3.81 ERA, 26 innings, 240 the opponent's average. But you see the walks, 18 walks in 26 innings. Let's head to the 4 keys to pitching success. It ties in. He's had some trouble in the first inning, so the first trip through the order tonight, that first 9, very important for him. And too many walks. His last 3 starts, he's gone 1-1 with 1 no decision, but 13 walks in 15 innings. He just can't continue to get away with that. And he admitted as much to Paul tonight.
And you won't with these 2 at the top of the order for Milwaukee. You put VR on, you're asking for trouble. He's got 45 stolen bases. And he's the Milwaukee leadoff man. He plays third base. He's batting .304 for the year. And the first pitch is whacked to short. Big hop. And a stretch by Freeman, 1 pitch and 1 man out. The Brewers have been outscored by 68 runs this year. They average almost 10 strikeouts per game. And they've hit 118 home runs. Ryan Braun is in the middle of that. Kirk Neuenhuis gets the start in right field. Chris Carter nearly won the game with a drive to left center that somehow stayed in the park. And that allowed the Braves to win in extra innings. That's Craig Counsell, a Milwaukee boy who's skippering his hometown club.
You mentioned the 10 strikeouts per game on average. You can't win at this level when you go 3 innings every night without making contact.
Orlando Arcia is playing his 2nd home game in his major league career. He had a hit last night and has started his big league career with a 4-game hitting streak. Bouncing ball up the middle, a base hit with 1 out. So Arcia's aboard.
Breaking ball that stayed up and out over the plate, so he was able to make an adjustment by being able to reach it. Hit it hard.
And that brings us to Ryan Braun, the Brewers left fielder, 6th in the league in hitting, 18 homers, 56 knocked in. 2 of those 18 homers have come against the Braves. That missed inside. Kerwin Danley is tonight's home plate ump.
Brewers stole 4 bases last night. Figure they'll try to run tonight on Jenkins when they get a chance. We'll see if Anthony Recker can put a stop to that.
The Brewers team's on an impressive stolen base run. They've stolen 24 consecutive without being caught. Garcia not going, and Braun backs away from ball 2. As we mentioned last night, Braun's coming off a terrific road trip for the Brewers. He had 6 hits, 4 of them homers, 10 RBIs. 7 of those RBIs came on Saturday. A 7 RBI game matched a Brewers record. Three in a row missed to Ryan Braun. That caught a corner.
Tyrell is coming off his best start. He got a no decision, but he left after 6 innings with 3 hits and only 1 run allowed. He did walk 4, and that 1 run that scored was on a leadoff walk. The product of a leadoff walk.
And Braun's aboard, 2 on with 1 out. And this is Hernan Perez. Perez, an infielder by trade, started in right field last night. He's playing second base where he's batting .289. It's bounced foul past Ed Cedar, the Brewers third base coach. Strike 1. Perez starting for the 51st time. 31 of those games came at third base, 18 in right field, 1 game at short. So he gets a shot at second base tonight. Scooter Gennett had a rough game yesterday, so he gets the night off. No balls and a strike. No score, first inning. And a double play ball hit right to Ibar. The turn perfect, and Tyrell Jenkins is out of the first inning. He's getting the ball on the ground in a hitter-friendly ballpark. Good start for Tyrell and the Braves. We head to the second.
Kemp to take his first look at Willie Peralta tonight. And Matt's good work is the subject of our Zaxby's indescribably good play.
Braves are 5-2 with Matt Kemp in the lineup. Everybody talks about how much he's meant to the lineup in terms of its configuration now and making it a little deeper. Having his presence in there has made a difference, but he's also begun to really contribute too. He was 2 for 4 last night, 5 for 16 now on the road trip.
5 RBIs in 7 games with the Braves. Not too shabby. A couple of doubles thrown in. And he'll lead things off against Peralta, who struck out a pair of Braves in his first inning. Fly ball to right. And that's playable for Kirk Nieuwenhuis. And he'll haul it in. There's the first out. And maybe the man that's benefited most from Matt Kemp's presence in the lineup is Nick Markakis. He is red hot. 7 hits in his last 13 games, and over his last 12, batting .395. And look at the power numbers for Nick. 7 home runs. Nick and Freddie Freeman both hit doubles last night. That duo is one of 2 in the National League with at least 27 two-base hits apiece. Carlos Gonzalez and Nolan Arenado of the Rockies, the other pair.
Nick's driving the ball better. 2 homers on the road trip, including the one last night.
That's into the seats, foul. They have extended the netting here in Milwaukee. Looks to be about a 5 or 6 foot high stretch of netting right behind the home and visitors on deck circles. But the dugout's very close to home plate here in Milwaukee. And that ball's bounced into the Brewers dugout.
Was it last year we had an ugly scene here?
Yeah.
Right above the Brewers dugout. Popping leather. 97. Last out. Last inning you got Freddie on a something he took a little off of. I don't think it was a slider. It's almost like a straight change that he doesn't throw many of.
That one 99 miles an hour.
That's why I say I don't know how anybody gets a hit off of him, because of the way he's pitched against the Braves. What we've seen, he is an ace.
(14 of his 19 pitches. Did you see that velocity? This one bounced toward third. VR's got it, and his throw gets Nick by a step. 2 up, 2 down.
A 1.65 ERA. 5 starts against the Braves, including a win this year. Give up 2 runs. Pitched into the 6th inning in Atlanta.
Adonis Garcia very quietly has had one of the best months in all of Major League Baseball at the plate. He's got hits in 22 of 27 for a .346 average. That's the 11th highest batting average in the game in that stretch. Oh, up and in. That got something. And Garcia's checking the right hand. And Jeff Porter's going to come out and take a look as well.
So looking at his thumb. Little finger. His left hand came off the bat, tried to protect himself, but the right hand, and it was the right pinky that got hit. I really thought it hit his helmet. It went by.
We heard that tick, and I believe the call by Kerwin Danley was foul ball. The Braves are going to challenge that call, and Atlanta believes that Garcia was hit by that pitch. It appears Adonis will stay in the game. He's taken off the shin guard, and he's going to have to put it back on, it looks like. They're going to say it's foul ball.
That's very odd, isn't it? I mean, for a guy to go to that kind of an extreme, to have the trainer come out and check his finger when he got hit, for them to think that it's somehow fake.
So the count's 0-2. Very painful strike for Adonis. Very short review of that one. And Peralta missed outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball up the middle. Nice play at second. Perez to get Garcia. Hernan Perez made a terrific play to his right backhand and a strong throw to first to end the second inning. August 18th, get the one-of-a-kind Andrew Jones The Catch bobblehead. You don't want to miss it. Go to Braves.com/tickets and get your seats today. Beautiful Miller Park in Milwaukee. No score as we head to the home second. Always a lot of Braves fans here in Milwaukee when we come to town. Kirk Neuenhuis will lead off for Milwaukee. Eric Ibar was late getting into his shift, so Jenkins stepped off.
You see anything different about Tyrell? He's not working from the stretch. He's working from the windup. different from when he first went into the rotation and stayed in the stretch.
So that'll be a question for Paul to ask after the game. What? And Tyrell switching. Ground ball hit to the right side. Jace has it. His flip to first gets Neuenhuis, who's now 1 for 13 against Braves pitching this year. 1 up, 1 down for Chris Carter, who I think everybody in the ballpark last night thought ended the game off Mauricio Cabrera. It sounded great. It looked great off the bat. He hit it a mile high and right toward that wind tunnel in left center, and the ball somehow, some way stayed in the park.
Bob Uecker has his great call on home runs here. Get up, get up, get out of here, gone. Last night he said, get up, get out of here, caught.
I thought it was gone.
And I think everybody in the ballpark did. All their fans were standing up ready to cheer a walk-off homer.
That tells you all you need to know about Carter, that he can turn around a 102-mile-an-hour fastball.
That's what it was.
Never a doubt, right? But because Carter can do that, you forgive all the strikeouts. He strikes out 38% of his at-bats. $143 of them and 375 official at-bats. Ripped into left, and Kemp can't get it. That's going to roll to the fence. Chris Carter stands at second with a 1-out double. His 21st double of the year.
Again, just kind of flips the bat out there. He's so strong, and this ball, when it hit the ground, it had another gear. And shot by Matt. You know, you said something about you can kind of forgive him for his strikeouts because of his power. I was just looking when you said that, it reminded me, so what does he do with runners in scoring position? Does he change his swing any? Does he do things a little better? The answer is no.
As Keon Broxton bats.
He has 107 at bats with men in scoring position this year. He's hit 150.
Wow.
And 107 at bats, he struck out 46 times with men in scoring position. That's not forgivable.
Right. Well, and so, you're right. And for those who think the strikeout is just another out, I guess Chris Carter's exhibit A. I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody. I see the power. I see the 25 homers, and you see the 61 RBIs. That's pretty good.
But it could be so much better with more contact.
Right. But his night off to a good start. He's got the second Milwaukee hit. As Keon Broxton is the batter. You might recall we saw him in Atlanta, and he looks like a totally different player now. Joe pointed out the mechanical adjustment he's made at the plate, and he needed to do something. He began his major league career 0 for 24. Got his first major league hit against Casey Kelly in Atlanta on May 25th. But he too is a man that struck out an awful lot. And Terrell pitching behind in the count, 3-0. That missed outside. 2 on, 1 out.
Tyrell wanted that one.
Manny Piña's coming up. One of your keys, walks. That's 2 in as many innings.
And each one has followed a base hit.
Well, Manny Piña is getting a long look in harness for Milwaukee with the trade of Jonathan Lucroy. Martin Maldonado's their #1 guy. And Piña's a man that certainly relishes being back in the major leagues. The Brewers got him in a deal with the Tigers. He was part of the K-Rod deal in December of 2015. This man has been in the major leagues before with Kansas City in 2011 and 2012. A grand total of 5 major league games. And now he's back getting maybe his first real chance at some kind of playing time on the show with the Brewers.
And so far so good for him. 3 for 6. Quick trip out by Anthony Recker, who has been doing a good job of that with these young pitchers. Trying to settle him down.
Hot shot to short. Ibar snags it. Second 1. First 2. What a double play.
What a job by Jace Peterson.
Ibar handled the hot smash, and Peterson hung in there with a base runner barreling down at the bag. For Terrell Jenkins, the one here in the second inning was absolutely spectacular.
This was amazing how quick he got rid of it and how quick Jace got rid of it after avoiding the runner coming into second. The old days, Broxton would have flattened Jace Peterson to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, he's learning how to use the bag as a shield for the oncoming base runner. And he stepped to the outfield side of second base, right field side actually, and Broxton missed him by a mile. So another ground ball double play for Tyrell Jenkins. That keeps the game scoreless, and Jace will lead off the third. Jace had a pinch hit at bat last night. He did not reach base in that time up, and that ended his on base streak at 14 consecutive games. Back to the mound, and Peralta snagged that. One up, one down. Here's Anthony Recker.
Willie Peralta is one of the more popular Brewers in his own clubhouse. Easygoing, likable, fun-loving. Had a funny look there at VR after he snagged that and threw out Jace. He's got a look, and he's pitching like a man who's got a point to make tonight. And he does. I mean, as poorly as he's pitched this year, he needs a good outing.
And Tom Haudricourt of the Milwaukee newspaper said as much in an article yesterday. It's time for this man to show he can be part of the present and future for Milwaukee after 2 real disappointing seasons. From opening day starter to a man sent to the minor leagues. But so far, he has not allowed a hit.
Anthony Recker's done good work. 371 average. That's 13 for 43 with a bunch of doubles, 6 RBIs. He's another guy at age 33, or will be 33 at the end of this month, with something to prove after some call-ups and some time in the big leagues with the Mets. Anthony's getting another shot, and he's making the best of it.
No swing. Recker was halfway down the first base line on the appeal play. And he earns the second walk for the Braves tonight. That'll give Tyrell Jenkins a chance to lay down a bunt.
For his first hit, but he has put down 3 sacrifices.
Back to the mound. Peralta's going to go to second, and the ball dropped. The ball was tailing into the base runner, and Arcia couldn't hang on. And the Braves get a big break. First and second with 1 out.
Recker didn't slide. I'm not sure that he knew the throw was coming to second base. So he basically just took out Arcia's glove here. Anthony's a big guy. Hard for Orlando to hang on to that throw there. Should be an error on somebody.
So this sets up great for the Braves. Inciarte, with his 19-game hitting streak, has 2 on and 1 out. Down the left field line and into the seats. We have a fan from Kohler, Wisconsin, made the play. 0-1 your count.
They charged the error to Peralta. Brewers made an error last night. So they're now up to 94 errors, the most in baseball.
Pena's throw back to second, and Recker's out. He stepped on Arcia, but he is called out. And that's probably why. His foot was on top of the Milwaukee shortstop, and then the tag was applied.
Been a long time since I've seen a catcher pick off a runner at second. Like he stepped on the glove.
Well, it's on the follow through. Watch right there.
Oh, gotcha.
So Manny Piña's made his presence felt, hasn't he? He's thrown out a runner at second. He's picked off Wrecker. Now there are 2 outs. Full count. Ibar's next. Jenkins a short lead at first. Carter plays behind him, now backs up. And there goes Tyrell, and a swing and a miss. That'll retire the side. A promising inning for the Braves is wrecked by Wrecker being picked off here in the 3rd. No score.
Everybody, it's 0-0 bottom of the 3rd, and I want to talk a little Brian Snitker. In his 40th year with the organization, yeah, I said that right, 40 years. And when the Braves called and asked about him being interested in interviewing for the managerial change, he said, "Are you kidding me? I've been waiting for this call my whole life." He's certainly having a lot of fun, and it's translated the Braves playing good baseball lately. When I walked around that locker room and asked the guys for some of the reasons why, they talked some Matt Kemp. They also were very quick to bring up their manager, saying that he has really created a relaxed atmosphere where you do not have a manager down your throat yelling at you, but he's not passive either and knows when to push the buttons, knows when to step on the gas, hit the brakes. Yeah, they like this guy. It's translated to some wins lately. Back to you guys.
You know what, Paul? I think Brian put his stamp on this team when he got thrown out of a game. About a month ago or so. Where Brian's such an easygoing guy that it was obvious that his passion for that game and any game runs at a very high level, even though it may not be visible on his face.
To 3rd, Adonis handles that shot off Willie Peralta's bat. There's the 1st out.
I agree 100%, Joe. As a manager, I really appreciated a guy that was two-dimensional. Somebody that wasn't a hothead all the time, but somebody that would go fight for you with the umpire or know when to get on your team when they didn't hustle, or a certain player when he was dogging it. I also needed a guy that had played the game, been around the game for a while, and understood that the game wasn't easy. And so that when you had a tough time, but you were busting your butt out there and it just wasn't working, they could come up and give you a pat on the butt and encourage you. Brian Snitker having, as you just indicated, both of those traits.
Well, Paul, when Brian was named manager on May 17th, things were looking really bleak for the Braves in the win-loss column. Under Brian Snitker's leadership, the Braves at the moment are 33-42. We've talked a lot about this 2-week run where the Braves have won 9 of their last 13 games, and the way the Braves are doing, I think, is noteworthy too. Here's the pitch. I'm sure it's never easy to manage a major league club, even in the best of times. But having said that, when you are managing a club like the Braves right now, who have had so many injuries to this pitching staff, they've had the trades that took place at the trading deadline, the youth and inexperience that you have in rotation. None of these guys starting right now for Brian Snitker's club are on the opening day roster, yet here they are, pitching well, hitting well, fielding well, and ultimately playing well. He's kept it all together under very difficult circumstances. High bar at short. Will take care of VR. 2 outs.
No one likes to lose. At this level, people have succeeded by being winners and being good at what they do. But for Brian in this situation, there's a patience level that you have to have, and I don't want to say an acceptance for it, but especially with these young pitchers, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be hanging breaking balls. There's going to be a lot of walks, and you don't see him fretting about it in the dugout. He may have some chats with the guys later on, but he is very, I'll say, very consistent, very calm in the dugout, despite the inexperience of so many.
Yeah, he said that he said as much. Look, the only way for these guys to learn how to do it is to go do it, and you have to let them do it.
Well, that's an admirable quality in any man, and it shows in Snitker here when you know he wants to win as much as anybody.
That buzzed the tower of Orlando Arcia. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Little tapper. Jenkins has it. Loads up. Fires a strike to first, and Freddie Freeman makes the play. And that will retire Arcia and the Brewers in order. Big fastball from Tyrell Jenkins to get the speedy shortstop for Milwaukee. Jenkins has his first 1-2-3 inning. We go to the 4th inning. Still no score.
Change the way you experience sports.
That's our great Fox Sports crew. Everybody in order. Riding on the Hank Aaron State Trail along the Milwaukee Lakeshore. Beautiful day for a bike ride. Beautiful scenery. And they even found a clown bike for Paul Bird.
Oh, I was wondering why Paul was chugging so much. I didn't realize he was pulling such a heavy load. Poor guy.
We were, well, let me back up. I was punishing that back tire.
I just want to apologize for the view you got when I stood up going around the corner right there.
Yeah. We had a great time today. Gorgeous day to be outside. We're really lucky with this weather. As you said, what a time to be in Miller Park.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
0-0 through 3. Jenkins versus Willie Peralta. And Eric Ibar leads off. He struck out his first time up.
He's really mixed in a nice off-speed pitch tonight. Struck out Inciarte in the third. Struck out Freddie to end the first with it.
The Braves are looking for their first hit. And might just have it. And they will. Infield hit for Eric Ibar gives him a 14-game streak. And that's how the fourth inning starts.
$19 hits for Eric over his 14-game streak. Those two guys playing tonight up the middle got some pretty good range. Hernan Perez and Garcia. Good start to the inning.
Freddie Freeman struck out his first time. Ball in the dirt. Pena scooped it up, and Ibar wandered too far off the bag. Now he's in a rundown between first and second. And Carter with a big tackle for a 15-yard loss. That'll make the Packers fans happy in the crowd. And there's the first out. A couple of adventures for the Braves on the bases in the first 4 innings.
You know how we talk about the instincts of the Braves base runners, reading those balls in the dirt and anticipating a ball being bobbled or bounced away from the catcher. Well, that's what happened here. That was a sack. That was not a. Oh, that was awful.
Oh, we know Ibar can pick up hits and take one too.
I'm glad he's okay. But he just never anticipated Pena of picking that ball in the dirt. So Pena's adding to his reputation here tonight.
I wonder if Mike McCarthy, the Packers coach, is going to ask for a video of that play from Carter with NFL training camps in full swing. Packers had some extra time with the Hall of Fame game canceled. They might employ that drill that Chris just showed off.
That'd be a great idea. Put some bases out there and then get all your backup quarterbacks in a rundown. Between a couple of linebackers. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Shift on for Freddie. One out. And hot smash. And Arcia lost it for a moment. Dropped it, picked it up, and then threw a strike. Did he lose that ball?
He acted like he did. Ducked his head like he did. Ramped up the mound It was like he had to get his head out of the way. I don't think there's any lights right up above home plate, so it wasn't that.
But that's the second out for Matt Kemp. He flied out to right. Braves are getting a taste of what it is like to face Mike Foltynewicz. Peralta's throwing in the mid to upper 90s with the vast majority of his 55 pitches so far. He is bringing it. And then he drops a slider in on Kemp, and he swings and misses. And that's the end of the fourth inning. 4 strikeouts for the burly Brewers right-hander.
Braves, Brewers, bottom of the fourth, 0-0. Well, Terrell Jenkins' game plan coming in the game was to keep the ball down and get ground balls. Guys, 2 double plays on the day. All 9 outs so far have come on ground balls. He mentioned earlier he does not want to see Bernie Brewer go down that yellow slide in left center after a home run. So far, game plan's working. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Paul. We head to the fourth. Braun, Perez, and Neuenhuis are coming up. Paul, you surprised that Tyrell Jenkins is going back to a windup instead of the modified windup that he'd been using in his first 5 starts?
I am, simply because his last couple starts have been really solid, and usually when that happens you don't change anything. So I am surprised, yes. Do I think it's the wrong decision? No. If he's comfortable with it in bullpens and he has the courage to change something up when things going well, I kind of admire that. So we'll see how it plays out, but so far very, very good.
Braun walked and was erased on a first inning double play ball. And he's now ahead in the count, 2-1.
It's even a little different, Paul, right now than it was at the beginning of the game. He's just taking 1 step and not 2 to get turned and into a position to kick his leg up.
Braun skies one to deep left. This one's long gone. Right off the facade of the second deck above the Braves bullpen, and Ryan Braun has put the Brewers in front.
Boy, did that ball jump.
So Braun now with 19 home runs. Milwaukee strikes first, and here's Hernan Perez.
I'm going to say that, or guess that Bob Uecker was able to complete his home run call there.
It was gone in a hurry. The Brewers have hit now 119 home runs this season. In the air to center and right at Inciarte. 1 out. There we go. They have a junior announcer program here at the ballpark, and that youngster doing a nice job introducing the Brewers. As Kurt Neuenhuis stands in.
And when he got the number wrong on Neuenhuis, that automatically qualifies him as a super future broadcaster.
No doubt. What do they say? Pedal your bike straight through, right?
Neuenhuis is happy to get home. He doesn't like the road. He's not hitting more than a flip on the road. And he's only hitting 209. Is that what his average is? 210 right now. At home, he's hitting 302 with 9 homers.
I think Bernie, the Brewers giving him the signs for the chalet.
Could be.
He's up there walking around, looking at home plate. He's already made his slide because Braun hit a home run. Very suspicious. Popped up back our way and into the lower bowl. Nice catch. One and two. Swing and a miss. Neuenhuis is down on strikes. First punch out for Tyrell Jenkins.
Well, whatever Bernie told him here was some bad info. Good breaking pitch.
And the first Brewers strikeout tonight. Here's Carter. He doubled to left and was left stranded back in the second. Carter, another in a long line of great big first basemen for this Milwaukee franchise. Remember Richie Sexson, and you remember Prince Fielder. According to Ken Rosenthal, who's reporting that Prince Fielder tomorrow might announce his, retirement, because he's not quitting. He's not going to be medically able to play baseball, it appears. He's got some disc problems in his neck. There's an 11 o'clock press conference tomorrow in Texas. Bouncing ball right at the second base bag. Peterson's got it. And a first in time to retire the side. Ryan Braun homers. Bernie the Brewer is in motion. And we head to the fifth down a run. 22-foot homer leading off the fourth inning. Milwaukee enjoys a 1-0 advantage. Nick Markakis, Adonis Garcia, and Jace Peterson are coming up. Braves have 1 hit tonight. Willie Peralta's walked 2. They've had a runner thrown out at second trying to steal. Anthony Recker's been picked off second. And Eric Ibar was run down between first and second and then run over by Chris Carter. So it's been a rough night on the base paths for the Braves in a 1-0 game so far. See if Nick can get something started. 7 hits in his last 14 at bats.
Peralta's 27 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. 4th year in the big leagues.
Took a little off and dropped it in at 94.
But again, of the 4 strikeouts tonight, 3 have been inning enders on an off-speed pitch.
Let's see what Pena has in mind. Wants him to shake. And the 3-2 is bounced to the right side. Peralta tracks it down. He'll take it to the bag himself. 1 out.
Haven't been any real good swings off of him yet.
Adonis had an uncomfortable at bat back in the second inning. He thought he was hit by the pitch. The Braves challenged the foul tip call. The ruling on the field was upheld, and Adonis later grounded out to second on a fine play by Hernan Perez.
There he used that breaking pitch to get ahead in the count. Tonight he's not a comfortable at bat at all, especially for the right-handers.
So this is a man that will walk you, that does, as I said, average almost 2 base runners an inning. Can you afford to wait him out? See if he starts walking the park. He's had a few base runners already tonight.
Well, not when he's throwing strike 1. I don't know how many he's thrown, but it's been enough to get everybody to start swinging the bat, with the exception of Inciarte, who led off the game with a 4-pitch walk. There you go, 10 out of 15. It's always comforting to know that the people in the truck are actually listening.
Nice curveball, evens the count, 2-2. And he backed it up. Garcia's down on strikes. That's 5 for Peralta. Quickly 2 out.
Lately, when Adonis has been raking, he's been on pitches, maybe not like that, exactly like that. That was a real good pitch that started on the outside corner and went away, but he's tried to hit it to right field. That's why I say this is not comfortable tonight. He's throwing so hard, and he came up and in on Adonis last at bat, so there's a little reluctance to dig in.
And nothing to eliminate. I mean, he's got everything working. And a quick strike for Peterson, who bounced out to the mound his first time up. 2 quick outs. He's getting all 4 quadrants of the strike zone called. That one at the very bottom of the zone, outside corner. Swing and a miss. 6 strikeouts for Peralta. He's thrown a 1-hit shutout, and he leads 1-0 thanks to a Ryan Braun homer. Hey, Jerome, thank you very much. And the Indians need a win. They've dropped 5 of their last 7 games. That's a potential World Series preview tonight in Nationals Park. We will see the Nationals after we leave Milwaukee.
There's a proven fact in baseball, it's been proven over the years, that you can't win a no-hitter if your team doesn't score.
I did not know.
Yeah,
that.
it's just an old adage.
And the Nationals, not the same club. Ryan Zimmerman's on the disabled list. Won't see him in that series as Keon Broxton bounces to Ibar, who got rid of it quickly and made a good play.
That wasn't an easy play. That was one of those in-between hops that if he lays back and waits for the second hop to come to him, Broxton beats it out. But he smothered the second hop and made it look easy. Turned his glove facing down to make sure that it didn't bounce up over him. Good play. His offense accompanied by some real good defensive work at shortstop too.
One away from Manny Pena. He's done a great job defensively tonight. He hit into a double play in his first at bat. One more note on the Nationals. Bryce Harper not in the lineup. He's been bothered by a stiff neck. You know what Bryce Harper's hitting since the All-Star break? $121.
Ooh.
And only 1 homer.
Hard to feel good when your neck hurts. Yeah, he did.
Manny Pena out of Barquisimeto, Venezuela. I believe that's how you pronounce it. 5 major league games entering this 2016 season. At this day and age in Major League Baseball, if you can catch it, call it, and throw it, you're going to get an extended look. Catching is one of the most difficult positions for major league clubs to fill these days. Jonathan Lucroy traded to the Rangers. Pena's getting an extended look. Another chance for Ibar. Catcher running, plenty of time. And Jenkins, another ground ball out.
Boy, he's had that working tonight. Good sinking action, good movement on his fastball. Just the mistake to Braun on a changeup that was up and down the middle. And it was apparent that Braun was looking for it.
So Terrell's recovered nicely. He set down 5 in a row after that homer. Peralta bounced out to third his first time up. In his last big league start, not only did he pick up the win, he also hit a home run. So to your point, you pick up a win, you hit a homer, and your reward, hey, have a nice trip to Colorado Springs.
We got a ticket for you. That is a good road trip, fella.
Swing and a miss. Peralta's retired. And that's a 3-out, 3-down inning for Tyrell Jenkins. He'll bat second in the 6th. A 1-0 Brewers lead in game 2. For our T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball, mentioned earlier that Prince Fielder is having a press conference tomorrow. Quite possibly the end of his major league career, and that's a real shame. One of the real talented hitters, great guy, and might be the end of the road down in the Lone Star State.
He was a great Brewer, too. From 05 to 2011, you can see 230 homers. High batting average for a guy with that kind of pop. Still very popular here, and how ironic would it be if he finishes with the exact same number of home runs as his dad, Cecil.
I never saw this myself, but all the published reports from Prince Fielder's younger days said that when he was 10, 11 years old, he was hitting balls onto the roof of Old Tiger Stadium when his dad was there during batting practice.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And such a shame that a talented player like Prince Fielder may be at the end of the line. We won't know until tomorrow, but we'll certainly hope for the best for Prince. Anthony Recker leads off the Atlanta sixth. Got to get something going against Peralta. He's allowed just one hit. And quite frankly, it's been quite a week for Major League Baseball. Mark Teixeira announces his retirement at season's end. Alex Rodriguez will play his final game for the Yankees on Friday. And now the possible Prince Fielder announcement tomorrow. Let's see if Recker can get on, and let's see if Jenkins can bunt him over.
Unfortunately, it comes to an end for everybody. The guys that play as long as people like Fielder and Teixeira and A-Rod, they want to be able to go out on their own terms. And unfortunately for Prince, it's all injury related. And Mark too, with his knees and other things that have really bugged him lately.
And say what you will about A-Rod, during his press conference, he said something that really struck me, and I agree with him. There's the 2-2 pitch. No player ever gets to go out on his own terms, because every single one of you guys wants to be 25 and play forever.
Keep playing. I think how fortunate, first guy that comes to mind for me is Chipper. Play as long as he did, decide on his own terms that this is it, this is my last year, and be able to walk away with no debilitating injury that's, you know, causing him to play poorly. But then I thought, well, wait a minute, he had 2 major knee surgeries too along the way, right? He didn't go unscathed.
Full count pitch coming for Recker. As Peralta stares him down from 60 feet 6 inches. And a shot into center field's going to get down for a hit. Excellent at bat by Anthony Recker, who's got a 5-game hitting streak now, and he represents the tying run. So this becomes big sequence. See if Jenkins can help himself.
He got the bunt down first time. They tried to get the lead runner and didn't, but then Pena promptly picked him off. Good at bat though, you're right. He battled, got that off-speed pitch that he's been striking guys out with on 3-2 counts. And he hit a soft spot over there. I hope he didn't hurt himself.
Jenkins with the bunt, and it's a beauty. There'll be one play. It's to first, and Tyrell continues to handle the bat beautifully. So Recker's in scoring position with 1 out, and the hot hitters are up. Inciarte and Eric Ibar.
Well done. Good execution.
So a new set of signs with a runner at second. Inciarte the batter. Ender has walked and has struck out. We talked at the start of our broadcast about all the areas where the Braves have been doing good work. Well, here's another one. Our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
Well, you got to like that, don't you? Last 6 games, 6 runs per game, 320 average with this situation.
Fly ball well hit toward left, but playable for Braun. He's got it. And Inciarte's the second out.
Just think how much better that makes your offense look when you're picking up those even single runs along the way. And for the Braves lately, it seems like it's been add-on runs where they really capitalize.
Think about the first 5-6 weeks when they couldn't buy a hit with a runner in scoring position. So Inciarte's retired. Ibar has the first of 2 Braves hits. He's extended his batting streak to 14 straight. A 2-out knock here could tie it up. Ground ball though toward short. Arcia's got it, and the throw to first is right on the money. Braves can't cash in a leadoff single. A fly out and a ground out sends us to the bottom of the 6th inning with the Brewers in front. Game summary. Both starters have been terrific. Willie Peralta back from the minor leagues facing the Braves and doing to Atlanta, Joe, what he normally does.
And it's from the Brewers perspective, boy, a sight for sore eyes to have him pitching this way. But Tyrell has pitched great too. He's given up 3 hits, and one of them was a homer to Braun on a misplaced changeup. But otherwise, he's had a fabulous game, and he's only walked 2 guys. They have not factored into any problems. Double plays followed.
So he'll try to get through the 6th inning. He starts his 3rd time through the lineup. This is one of those learning curves that Brian Snitker has talked about with his young staff. Can you get through a lineup a 3rd time with consistency? Let's find out. He's gotten VR twice on ground balls to Ibar at short. Want to keep this guy under wraps. Jenkins has done that. And those numbers give you plenty of hope. In fact, Jenkins' career high in innings pitched in the major leagues is 6.
We've been saying you got to keep this guy off the bases, and VR has been aggressive tonight early in the count. Those 2 ground outs, working the count a little more here.
Oh, downstairs Thought for a minute that Kerwin Danley was raising the right hand. He did, but it was to adjust his mask. So a leadoff walk to the 45 steel man, Jonathan Villar.
That's a tough one to frame. When you're set up outside and you got to reach across your backhand.
So some options for Craig Counsell here. Recker's thrown out 1 of 12 base stealers this season. The Brewers have stolen 24 straight as a team. Continues to inch out. And Jenkins stepped off.
That 1 for 12 is deceiving because of how few opportunities Anthony's been given to throw out base stealers by his staff.
Close play at first. 1 week ago today, Arcia was called up from AAA, where he was a Pacific Coast League All-Star. 8 homers, 53 RBIs, a .267 average in 100 games. He's been a very highly rated prospect for the last couple of years, coming back from a fractured ankle a couple of years ago.
Good save by Freddie.
And it hit a fast base runner on the left ankle. No, he just came up gimpy over there.
Yeah, he caught it.
Tyrell's had a couple of double plays turned behind him. Another one here would be nice. And fouled past third.
Used a slide step there just to show him something different. That was well done by Tyrell. Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard stolen bases. Villar had 2 last night. Hey, so did Billy Hamilton. Still tied at 45.
Tommy Harper and Scott Podsednik are the only Brewers to lead their league in stolen bases. As this one's popped up, he was reaching for it. Freeman backpedals, and the Braves first baseman makes the play for the first out. Arcia can't advance Villar. Now Ryan Braun bats. Braun's walked, and he's the only man to touch the plate. A home run over the Braves bullpen his last time up.
Change up, high down the middle, 422 feet off the facing the second deck.
There's a strike.
Here's where is a rampaging base stealer. You'd like for him to kind of stay put over there. Villar, he could score on a double with his speed, but if he steals, Braves just pitch around Braun.
Braun's hitting to 14 double plays. That's second most on the team. commented last night, this is a very quiet crowd here in Milwaukee. As Braun awaits a 1-1 pitch.
Shorter lead for VR. I don't think he's going anywhere with Braun up there. He might fool us, but he's getting back easily. Good try. Sometimes teams in situations like this, for Ed Cedar, the third base coach, he's just got a stop sign. He'll just give VR a sign, don't go. Otherwise, VR, with as many stolen bases as he has, he may have a green light to go whenever he wants.
Well, he's still 3 feet shy of his biggest lead in the inning. And Jenkins, preoccupied with him perhaps, has fallen behind Braun, now 3-1. Dangerous pitch. A breaking ball on a 3-1 count.
And a darn good one. 79 miles an hour. And look where it dropped, right behind the plate. Beauty.
So now Braun's got to have his thinking cap on with a full count. Let's see if VR is running. 1-0 Brewers. Braun's homer the difference. We're in the 6th. He's going. Swing and a miss. Recker's throw on the money and in time. Strike him out, throw him out. Double play ends the inning.
And ends the Brewers streak of 24 straight stolen bases.
What a sequence by Tyrell Jenkins. The breaking ball 3-1. The fastball missed and a perfect throw sends us to the 7th, where Freddie Freeman gets things started for Atlanta. Sunday, August 21st, with a catered buffet featuring some of the newest Braves food creations and a Bloody Mary and mimosa bar. Go to Braves.com/brunch and get your spot at this awesome event. Boy, has Tyrell Jenkins been great tonight. 6 innings of 1-run ball. Ryan Braun, the only man for either club to score tonight. That tally came on a 4th inning homer. Now we're in the 7th with Freddie Freeman leading off against Willie Peralta, who's matched Tyrell Jenkins pitch for pitch tonight. He's struck out 6. He's walked 2. 3 Braves out on the base paths tonight. That's hurt the cause. Eric Ibar extended his hitting streak to 14 games. Ender Inciarte so far this evening is 0 for 2.
It's when they got thrown out or picked off that really hurt. Got Kerwin Danley. I've got him on the inside of the leg where it missed the shin guard. No, inside of the foot where there's no protection. They have steel-toed shoes and they've got shin guards that protect the top of their foot but not the inside.
Yeah, no, Kerwin's not dancing along to the music. One ball, 2 strikes. Up and in. Freddie will see a 7th pitch. And now he'll see an 8th. Making him work. So we'll go back to that breaking ball, 3-2 like he's done all night.
I would guess. It's been very effective for him.
He did, but it missed. Freeman's aboard with a leadoff walk. Again, the Braves have a chance to get it tied here in the 7th with Matt Kemp coming up.
Ibar led off that infield single in the 4th, but was thrown out trying to advance on a ball in the dirt that he thought would get by the catcher. That one hurt, getting the leadoff man aboard early. I should say early in the batting order. He had the heart of the order coming up.
Kemp is flied out and struck out. Sharply hit and into center field, a base hit. Braves are in business. 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Kemp turned around a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Got a lot of the plate. Matt didn't miss it. That will get the Brewer bullpen busy. Only the 3rd hit off a guy who came in with a .358 batting average against him.
So Peralta has the same challenge that Terrell Jenkins has. He's got to work his way through the lineup for a 3rd time. But here in the 7th, Braves have a great chance. 2 on, nobody out. Markakis, Garcia, and Peterson are coming up. Hits are even 3 apiece. Milwaukee's committed the game's only error. Both clubs have left 2 on base. Right guy at the right time for Atlanta. Nick Markakis, 60 runs batted in. Hitting .327 with runners in scoring position and less than 2 outs. Ball 1. Make him work. Freeman with an 8 pitch at bat. Kemp jumped on the 1st pitch.
And remember when he was throwing that pitch for strike 1 to get ahead? He's not able to do that now.
But he is still throwing hard.
Yep. Big, strong dude. And if you just joined us, 6'1", listed at 260.
Line drive into left center field. That's going to get down for a hit. Here comes Freeman around third. He's going to score to tie the game. And Nick Markakis with a base hit the other way gets it done in the 7th. Man, is he hot. And the leadoff walk is cashed in behind Jenkins.
And man, has he been hot and consistent all year long with men in scoring position. Fastball down and out over the plate. Didn't try to pull it. And lines it into left center. And that's going to end the night for Peralta.
He was brilliant through 6 innings. The Braves had some early chances, couldn't cash them in, but a leadoff walk to start this 7th inning cost him a chance to win this game. It's 1-1, 2 on, still nobody out. The Braves are in the Brewers bullpen.
Baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, the Georgia Lottery, and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
The Wisconsin State Fair. Our crew was there the other night. No, we didn't ride the Orbiter. Yes, Brian Woodrum indulged in the fried Snickers. I was too short to ride that ride. That made me sad as Michael Blazek is on to pitch.
A couple of clowns right there. So let's go to the bullpen for the Brewers. No correlation intended there. Blazek in his 38th game, he had some elbow trouble earlier in the year. He's had a high batting average against him at 300 overall. He is a ground ball guy, and they need one.
3 wins for Blazek. 2 of them came in Atlanta. As he's got Adonis Garcia up there. 2 on, nobody out. The Braves have tied this game in the 7th.
His fastball sits in the low to mid 90s with a slider and a curve.
Blazek came from the Cardinals in the trade for John Axford in 2013. Ground ball up the middle. That's going to sneak through for a hit. They're going to bring Kemp around third. Broxton's throw to the plate is late. Kemp slides home safely. Garcia with a base hit puts Atlanta in front 2-1.
Early today, before either team was on the field for any batting practice, Matt Kemp and Gordon Beckham were out working out on some agility drills. Matt trying to get his legs in a little better shape. He's had some hip issues. Beckham, of course, with those hamstring problems. But even though he was playing tonight, Kemp was going through those agility drills, and I'm sure they are helping pay off for him running the bases. It did there. Adonis comes through one more time for the Braves.
4 straight Braves batters have reached in the 7th. Here's Jace Peterson. 2 on, 2 in, nobody out. Blazek got the ground ball he wanted, but it was out of reach of Arcia up the middle. So again, that graphic. How are the Braves doing? This good work over the last 2 weeks. Excellent hitting with runners in scoring position. That's happened here in the 7th. Back-to-back hits by Markakis and Garcia. That's low. 2-0. Bouncing ball towards second. There's 1. There's 2. There's the double play. Markakis at third, but now there are 2 outs. The 8th place hitter coming up in Wrecker, and then you've got Gordon Beckham striding to the on-deck circle. Let's see how Milwaukee plays it. Down 2-1 now. First double play turned in by the Brewers defense. Wreckers walked and singled.
Well, if they are going to pitch around Anthony Wrecker, they ought to just put him on, because he might haul off and hit one that's a foot outside for a base hit.
And that one almost to the backstop. Perez is playing Wrecker as a dead pull hitter. Anthony's got a big hole between first and second. He might be able to guide one right down the first base line that would score a run. Ooh. Playing with fire here. 2-0.
Realize what they're doing. They miss that badly on the first 2 pitches, that they're trying not to make a mistake and pitch around you here. So don't do them any favors, like on that last swing.
Tyrell Jenkins awaits his fate. 2 balls and a strike.
Three and 1. He's got a pitch to play with here. Anthony can look for something middle away. He can look for that breaking ball again and hope that it's up so that he can drive it to right. And if it's something middle of the plate in, take it. That was a bad pitch that turned out good.
Center cut, top of the strike zone. And called a strike. 3-2. Ball 4. Wrecker on his way to first, and it will be Gordon Beckham with Braves at the corners and 2 outs. So 6 innings for Tyrell Jenkins. He allowed 1 run, 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and the Braun homer. So you can understand this move from Brian Snitker. You've gotten Tyrell Jenkins the lead. Now you can turn things over to your bullpen, which has also been excellent over this 2-week stretch. So Jenkins in line for his second win, and he should be smiling. He pitched a great game tonight. So Beckham, the first Braves pinch hitter of the night. Gordon's 2 for 7 in a pinch. Knocked in a run last night on a fly ball to center when the Braves loaded the bases in extra innings. Showed bunt. And got the bat back. Ball 1.
One thing about this matchup is Gordon's ability to go to right field. Carter's holding Wrecker on at first base, and Perez is playing way up the middle. So if he keeps throwing that breaking ball, and if he gets one up a little bit, not like the one they threw to Wrecker 3-1, but something that Gordon can handle, he can drive it to right. Gordon came through last night with that deep fly to right center that was ruled an error. He got an RBI, a game-winning RBI.
One-zero count. Downstairs. Blazek wanted that. Not sure that was a strike, but Blazek got the call. 2-1. Three balls and a strike, and Ciarte waits on deck. Braves have 2 walks in this inning. They have 3 singles in the inning. They have, more importantly, 2 runs. Fly ball toward Broxton in center. Let's see if he catches this one. He did, and that retires the side. Atlanta scores 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 walks. Tyrell Jenkins leads at the stretch in Milwaukee.
Braves over the Brewers. It's time for our Toyota key play of the game. And how about that seventh, guys? Adonis Garcia, ground ball up the middle, and Matt Kemp rounding third. Come on, big fella. Watch him switch his batting glove right here to a different hand. Nice slide. Way to do it. Great job, Matt Kemp. And my key comment of the game is Joe Simpson, who was out here earlier watching Matt Kemp, who was also out here earlier doing early work. Guys, that's very important for me. Not that he just talks about it or is a big presence in the lineup, but he is leading by his actions out here doing early work, working on the agility, calisthenics stretching, getting those hips going, putting those words to action. Great catch, Joe Simpson. Really, really big key of the game in the seventh. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Bertie. That was pretty cool of him switching his batting gloves over there when Jace was telling him to slide, knowing he's probably going to have to reach back with his left hand. That was a good catch.
So young Madison Youngener is in his second big league game. He debuted against the Cardinals on August 7th. Gave up 2 runs, 3 hits in 2/3 of an inning. He's got 4, 5, 6 hitters coming up for the Brewers. And like Rob Whalen, I would imagine the butterfly's not nearly as big for this young man.
I don't know, man. This is a pretty responsible opportunity here in your second big league game.
At least it's not his first, as he missed inside for an even count. Madison 0-3, a 3.46 ERA, 15 saves between AA Mississippi and AAA Gwinnett. Braves also have Chaz Rowe in the bullpen. He got to the ballpark last night after the Braves claimed him on waivers from the Orioles. And with a 96 right over the top, 2-2 the count.
See what happens. It may be that he's only in for this hitter. Got Neuenhuis on deck, left-handed hitter, and looks like Ian Kroll loosening up in the Atlanta pen, perhaps getting ready for Neuenhuis.
Swing and a miss. Youngener got his first man. As Perez is down on strikes, he's 0 for 3.
Good heat. 94 at the letters. Couldn't catch up.
And that's his first career strikeout. Eddie Perez was calling for that baseball the moment it hit the glove of Anthony Recker. So Madison Youngener has another first tonight, and he will be allowed to face Neuenhuis. And a ground ball into the shift, right to Ibar, perfectly placed. 2 down. There isn't a National League team that shifts more than the Milwaukee Brewers, but the Braves have certainly been much more active in their shifting this year. Noah Woodward in charge of that on the Braves administrative staff, and it has paid dividends this year, it seems.
I think so too. There are so few hitters willing to make any adjustments against a shift. Just keep hitting into it, and as long as pitchers are pitching it correctly, it's tough not to, I guess.
Here's Carter, a double and a ground out. Swing and a miss. Youngener spent 6 seasons in the Red Sox organization, signed a minor league deal with the Braves in November of last year.
Big at bat right here. Get him here with nobody on base. Chances are good you may not have to face him late in the 8th or 9th.
In the 8th, Braves will have the 1, 2, and 3 hitters coming up. Jenkins 6 innings of 3-hit 1-run ball. Youngener's gotten the first 2 Brewers. And he just missed a corner. Sharply hit up the middle. Carter foiled the shift on that swing, and he's got a 2-hit night. And Keon Broxton will be the Brewers hitter.
Not a bad pitch, down and out. Didn't look like it was that much of the plate, but he was able to get to it. Kept it in the ballpark. That's okay. 2 out.
Broxton did something Saturday that no other Brewers rookie has ever done. He had a 5-hit game in the major leagues. He's 0 for 1 with a walk tonight. Ibar made a nice play to rob him in the 5th inning, and in between hop. And he pops up the first pitch. Thank you very much. Ender Inciarte in right center is there and has it. And Madison Youngner picks up his first big league strikeout, and he pitches his first complete major league inning. He preserves a 2-1 Atlanta advantage.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Follow Braves baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Rob Scahill back to the big leagues yesterday for Milwaukee. And he'll make his 16th appearance.
Brewers got him from Pittsburgh on waivers on July 12th. They sent him straight to Colorado Springs. Called him up yesterday. This is his Milwaukee debut. But those 15 games earlier this season with the Pirates.
And he'll face the top of the Braves order. Atlanta enjoys a 2-1 lead. A leadoff walk in the 7th off Willie Peralta led to that 2-run frame. Both runs it scored belonged to the Brewers starter. Tyrell Jenkins gave up a run in 6 innings. Madison Youngner a 1-hit 7th.
And this guy to get a base hit.
Yep. To extend his hitting streak. His 19-gamer might be on the line right here. Ender's 0 for 2 with a walk. First pitch swing and a ground ball to second. 1 pitch, 1 out. Swender's 0 for 3. Here's Eric Ibar. It's only a 1-run advantage in this park. Let's see if the Braves can mount a big rally and maybe get Ender up yet again. Ibar's streak will go to 14 games tomorrow. Braves will face Chase Anderson. Joel De La Cruz will get the ball for the Braves in Game 3.
A lot of cutters from Scahill off his fastball that's mid-90s at times.
That's golfed right side, foul. 0-2. Marlins lead the Giants 2-0. That game's in the 9th inning. Arizona beat the Mets 6-3. Cubs 6-1 over the Angels at Wrigley Field. Reds and Cardinals tied 3-3 in the 7th. Cardinals had a huge comeback at home last night. Up the middle, a base hit for Ibar. His 5th multi-hit game during his 14-game hitting streak, and he represents a great insurance run with Freddie Freeman coming up.
He's closing in on 240. Realize how hard that is when you've got as many at bats as he does this time of year after where he was.
Well, he's 20 for his last 52. An 8-pitch at bat for Freeman against Peralta in the 7th. He earned a base on balls and came home on Nick Markakis' single. Downstairs. This is known as a terrific hitter's park. Don't tell that to Freddie Freeman. Tonight he's playing in his 34th career game. Beg your pardon, his 14th career game here at Miller Park. 2 RBIs against the Brewers in Milwaukee. 2-2. One on, one out, 1-run lead. Thing that everybody comments on with this park is how the roof sits, the glass panels down the first base line, but more than that, just how dark it is inside the stadium. So dark that if you look inside the home and visitors dugouts, they actually have lights on the roof of the dugouts.
Yeah. I've always thought that. I've asked players about it. I remember asking Chipper about it, and Jones saying, no, I didn't notice that much of a difference. The playing surface here, the dirt, used to be real dark, almost like it was wet all the time, but it was just a dark soil that lended itself to look like a real dark area down on the playing field too, like the lights weren't all that bright.
Well, the Brewers have the lights on in their dugout. The lights are off in the Braves dugout. Not sure what that's all about. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Foul to the left. Another good battle for Freddie Freeman here. I will say that one thing that they have that is really well lit are the retired numbers up there on the track for the roof. Really nicely done. Oh boy, Freddie, wear him out. An 8-pitch at bat last time. This one will be at least 9 pitches. Yeah, those retired numbers.
4 on one side, 3 on the other.
Robinson, Aaron, and Bud Selig. Molitor, Bob Uecker, and Robin Yount. Great at bat. Keep it going, Freddie. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to the right side. Long throw to second for 1 and a double play. So Freeman made Scahill work, but he wins the duel and forces an inning-ending double play. Will be at Turner Field Saturday, August 20th for a free post-game concert, part of the Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines Summer Concert Series. Field passes are also on sale for just $20. Get them at Braves.com/Torrey Kelly today. Madison Younginer back out for his 2nd inning of work, part of a Braves bullpen that's been terrific.
193 ERA over 15 games, I'll say. Almost a strikeout per inning pitched. Younginer got his first big league strikeout to start the 7th.
He'll start with Manny Pena, then the pitcher's spot. Then the top of the order, VR, here in the Brewers' 8th. 2-1, Atlanta has the lead.
Brewers did a nice thing for Pena. They acquired Andrew Susac, catcher from the Giants in the Will Smith deal. But Pena had been a PCL All-Star, and you mentioned, very little major league experience. But he was having a good year at Colorado Springs, and they called him up to give him a chance. Susac will be here soon enough.
2 balls, no strikes. 3-0. Andy Wilkins is on deck. And 4 straight puts the tying run aboard in the 8th inning.
Not good.
So let's see, is Wilkins going to be brought back? Apparently not. So Scahill pitches an inning of 1-hit baseball. No walks or strikeouts. Brian Snitker wants to make sure that Wilkins is in the game. He is. And now it appears he'll go get Madison Youngener, who went an inning plus. 1 hit, no runs so far. His first big league strikeout. And 1 base on balls. The battle of the bullpens continues. Atlanta leads 2-1. 1 on, nobody out.
Mazda, Georgia. Baseball is presented by Mazda, Georgia Power, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
They still love their Braves, the Milwaukee Braves, here at Miller Park. There's some of the greats from those 1950s Braves icons. Of course, the Hammer, Henry Aaron, at the top of that list. Ian Kroll becomes the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Braves. He faces Jake Elmore with a man aboard and nobody out.
This is what Craig Counsell wanted when he was thinking about sending Wilkins up and didn't, and called him back. This is what he hoped would happen. Wilkins was mostly sacrificed here to get the left-handed pitcher in so he could put Elmore up there to bunt.
Elmore called up June 28th, took the roster spot of Alex Presley, who is designated for assignment. Elmore's played for Arizona, Houston, Cincinnati, and Tampa Bay. Brewers signed him as a free agent right before Christmas last year. And a bunt over the screen, foul. Even count.
As big a stickler is for fundamentals as Craig Counsell is, and the type player he was, when you need a sacrifice bunt to get the potential tying run to the scoring position, you don't want to see his hitter running up the line like he's trying to bunt for a hit.
Cole's making his third appearance on the road trip. He has 7 consecutive scoreless appearances without a walk.
He was really good in St. Louis.
2 1/3 innings with 3 strikeouts. There's the bunt. It's popped up behind the plate, but no play for Recker. And now Elmore is going to have to try to get it down with 2 strikes. Strike 3 called outside corner. Poor at bat for Elmore. Great result for Kroll, who struck him out. 1 away in the inning. So that move didn't work for Craig Counsell.
Good job. Ian Kroll ahead in the count. Got the call on a pitch that was borderline.
Now VR hits. He is grounded to short twice. He's walked once.
Hitting .336 right-handed. And that's in 119 at bats.
Braves have turned 3 double plays tonight. A 4th would be just fine right here. VR took a strike.
Yeah, there's been a nice exhibition of double play turning tonight by both teams. 4 of them on ground ball variety, and the other one for the Braves was a strike him out, throw him out.
Strike 2.
Just a little off his fastball there. As Chip pointed out last night, this guy strikes out a lot too.
121 times. The 2-2 pitch is on a play. Roughly 30% of his at-bats end up with a swing and a miss. Or a called third, for that matter. Kroll's got him with 2 strikes. Pena, a catcher, leads at first. The pitch. Almost hit him. Got the rookie Arcia waiting on deck. Would the Brewers dare send the runner here?
Again, with the strikeouts, that's a test. They've already seen Recker gun down 1 runner tonight, and that was VR.
Not going, and foul back.
The other part of that is a left-handed pitcher who might prevent Pena from getting a good jump.
Another payoff pitch. Ground ball to second. There's one. There's two. And in time, it's a double play, and that's going to end the Milwaukee eighth. The Brewers might take a look at this play at second base, but for the moment, it'll be the fourth double play turned in by the Atlanta defense. Did Ibar keep the bag on the feed from Peterson? Let's see.
Well, he came flying across there. On first blush, I don't think so. He did hit the bag, but his foot and the baseball weren't together at the same time.
So is there enough for the Brewers to challenge?
They'd be foolish not to at this stage of the game. It's a tying run.
I think they are going to take a look. At the very least, VR is going to be out 4 to 6 to 3 at first base. The question is, will Pena be at second, or will the inning be over? So Kerwin Danley and Andy Fletcher will head to the headsets. You know why Ibar was hurrying. He knew he had a fast runner down the line.
And Jace had to play that ball kind of in on his body, so he wasn't able to get a lot on the flip.
So the Brewers are challenging the neighborhood play at second base. The home crowd is seeing the high angle replay, and he is safe at second. So VR will be out at first. Pena will be the runner at second. Arcia will be the batter. There will be 2 outs in the inning. Brian Snitker is out to talk with Kerwin Danley. The call's overturned. And now the Braves might challenge the slide of Pena.
Yeah, his foot was not on the base when he caught the ball. Here's Pena's slide.
Now remember, the slide rule is in effect. You cannot go after the base, the man at the base. You have to go straight to the bag. You have to maintain possession of the bag. So the Brewers got their challenge and the call overturned. The Braves are obviously going to challenge the slide of Pena and see if maybe he would force the double play.
He never got to the bag. So he was trying to get down to make sure he didn't get hit with the throw. Safe.
So from the Braves' perspective, why not check and see? So the call stands on the slide play. The call is overturned on the pivot play by Ibar. So the tying run at second for Milwaukee, 2 outs. And now Brian Snitker will go get Ian Kroll, and the Braves go into the bullpen one more time. So Atlanta's pen needs to clean up a leadoff walk. That runner's at second base. There are 2 outs in the inning. 2-1. Boy, a lot happening here in the 8th. Milwaukee. Hope you'll join us after our game for Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. The Braves trying to go 4-1 on the road trip. They lead late, and it's the Braves' debut of their newest reliever, Chaz Rowe.
Rowe is 29 years old, 6'5", 190. He was outrighted on waivers by the Royals 2 days ago. Out of the Baltimore pen this year, 1-0, a 3.72 ERA, 4 runs allowed in 9 2/3 innings. Started the year in AAA. 6-2, 418 in 69 big league games.
First batter faced will be big. And Orlando Arcia takes ball 1. No, Chaz is not short for Charles. That is his given name, Chaz Daniel Rowe, born in 1986. Ground ball to third. Garcia's got it, and he'll apply the tag to Pena, trying to get from second to third. Thank you very much. Rowe's debut a success. Kroll and the Braves are out of the 8th. We head to the 9th, 2-1 Atlanta. Fans in attendance Thursday, August 18th. Get a one-of-a-kind Andrew Jones The Catch bobblehead. You don't want to miss it. Go to Braves.com/tickets and get your seats today. Another great game here in Milwaukee. The Braves enjoy a 2-1 lead. They scored 2 in the 7th. The pen has made that stand up to this point. And now Atlanta will look at a 4th Milwaukee pitcher.
It's like Johnny Peralta, you know, only this one is John with a JH. And Marinez, 23rd game. A lot of strikeouts. And a big surprise, he throws mid-90s with a slider.
Marinez came from Tampa Bay May 12th in a cash transaction. He's pitched with the Marlins, the White Sox, and Tampa Bay, and was once part of a trade that included Ozzie Guillen. And he'll face Kemp, Markakis, and Garcia. An insurance run would be nice. The Brewers will have the middle of their order coming up in their final at bat. And downstairs to Matt, who singled and scored the second Braves run.
With a terrific slide.
Cleveland beat Washington tonight 3-1. Marlins beat the Giants 2-0.
Beat Max Scherzer.
Fly ball left, right at Ryan Braun. And he'll saunter over and make the play. Kemp's 1 for 4 in the game. And Nick Markakis will be the batter.
Miami's back within 6.5 of the Nats.
And they're happy because the Reds are beating the Cardinals 7-4 tonight. Marlins trying to extend their lead in the National League wild card race. Redbirds and Fish came in tied with identical 59 and 53 records. Mets are a 1.5 back. Pirates 2.5 back. Colorado 4 back at the start of tonight's action.
And the Cubs became the first team to win 70 games.
Cubs have won 10 of 11, now 8 in a row. That was Weaver versus Lackey today at Wrigley Field. Hard to believe that the opening series for the Cubs was against the Angels opening day out in Los Angeles. It's a little weird. 1 ball, 1 strike for Nick. Bases empty in the 9th. 2-1 Braves lead it with 6 hits. Popped up left side. VR gives chase near the railing and can't make a play. That'll bounce up. And eventually a fan from Manitowoc, Wisconsin will ice out the competition and pick up the souvenir.
Proud of you. I didn't realize you knew so much about geography here.
No, but I like ice machines. That's where they make them.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
On that pitch from Marinez. I have no idea how to say his first name, but I really like trying to say his last name.
You're saying it's super too.
I think I'm rolling my R well enough.
Fly ball right center field. Pretty well hit. But Broxton's going to have room shy of the track. Nick gave it a ride, but he's the second out.
The yard played a little burnout with him. Surprised him.
It's Mauricio Cabrera up in the Braves bullpen, not Jim Johnson. Were Jim to pitch tonight, it would be 3 days in a row for him.
Hey, all this winning takes a toll on your closer. Remember Michael Jackson, the pitcher?
Yeah.
Reliever? Watch this guy throw. See if it doesn't remind you a little bit of him. He had a good career.
Something bothered Adonis there. The 1-2 pitch. He wanted it, didn't get it.
That pitch a little more over the top than a couple that preceded it that were a little more low 3/4.
Swing and a miss. That retires the side. And we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Ryan Braun has homered tonight. Hernan Perez and Kirk Neuenhuis coming up to face Mauricio Cabrera. Times in the last 6 days, so it'll be Mauricio Cabrera who will work for the 5th time in 6 days in relief for Atlanta, but this time he's got to get the final 3 outs.
And he's got to get the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in their lineup, beginning with Ryan Braun. Mauricio's got a couple of saves, as you see, and he pitched last night an inning, a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout.
Ryan Braun, the only Brewer to touch the plate. It came in the 4th inning. A 422-foot homer on a changeup from Terrell Jenkins.
Above their bullpen, rather. It was a blast.
So remember, Chris Carter last night almost won the game for Milwaukee. Roof panels open. Not much breeze tonight, unlike last night. Cabrera versus Braun to start the inning. And 101 right on by. Down the right field line. Foul ball. Braun swung late and almost hit an opposite field double. Strike 2.
He hit that hard. Heading the count, though. Chance to try to get him to expand his zone. That was not a very good breaking ball.
Remember, Matt Holliday ripped a base hit against Cabrera in St. Louis, and we could read his lips as if say, almost thank you very much for throwing me a breaking ball after he made him look bad with 2 triple-digit fastballs.
I think his comment was something more along the lines of, boy, that was dumb.
0-2. And that just missed the corner. That one 103 miles an hour. The crowd oohing and eyeing when they see fastballs that you don't see too often in the major leagues. Cabrera, the highest average velocity of any big league pitcher. Little tapper, tough play. Recker's got it. Throw to first in time. Braun's retired, 1 down.
Way to bounce for Anthony. He was calling off Cabrera, wanting him to make sure he didn't get in the way. Pounced on it. I was talking to Bob Uecker before the game. Goodness knows, in his 50+ years of baseball, he's seen a lot. And he was talking about Cabrera and how impressive he was. He said, just watching him warm up, you knew that he was going to be throwing the ball hard. He said, I had heard about him, but he said, I think in the not too distant future, where we used to marvel at 95 and now that's commonplace, he said, I don't think it's too far away where it's going to be commonplace for a staff to have a bunch of guys throwing 100.
So how will hitters ever get hits? I mean, it is amazing. Hernan Perez, the batter, and a ground ball to second. That'll be the second out. Ty Cobb said of Walter Johnson that he didn't think it'd be humanly possible for anyone to throw any harder than he did. That was 100 years ago when Walter Johnson, the big train, had a fastball that's been measured in modern times at around 92 miles an hour. Here we are 100 years later, and pitchers like Cabrera are throwing the ball 10 miles an hour faster than that. And almost, in the case of Cabrera, effortlessly. So one more out to get. Here's Neuenhuis. He's 0 for 3.
You know how that glove pops. Wouldn't it be something to have 2 mounds side by side, 2 home plates, and let Cabrera and somebody that say throws 95 throw those pitches and listen to the pops of the glove difference.
I've talked about that documentary Fastball, where the difference between 95 and 100 is roughly 10 feet for a hitter, at the point of release from roughly 52 feet, 53 feet or so. My math may be off, but the point is, what a huge advantage to throw hard. But more importantly for Cabrera, to throw strikes.
Yes.
And he's doing that.
And it's all based on improvement he's made since last year on that department.
And now he's but a strike away from salting away a 2-1 Atlanta win. He's calm, cool, collected.
Yeah.
He didn't look like he's fazed by this at all, does
No, and doesn't seem to be affected by all this work either, but pretty obvious he needs a day tomorrow perhaps.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Ball game. Cabrera blows him away at 103 miles an hour, and the Braves have gone 4-1 on the road trip. Another 1-run win tonight. 2-1 is your final score. RBI hits from Markakis and Garcia. Tyrell Jenkins earns his 2nd victory, and the Braves, with 2 runs in the 7th, beat Willie Peralta.